If you've been keeping an eye on the Cowboys' wide receiver room, you know it's getting crowded, and fast. With George Pickens now in the mix and CeeDee Lamb locked in as the WR1, the pressure is quietly building on guys like Tolbert. And while nobody's pushing the panic button yet, it's fair to ask, is Tolbert becoming expendable? Now, I know that might sound a little harsh. Tolbert's a third-round pick from just a couple years ago. He's been grinding, learning the system, and showed flashes of growth in 2024. But let's be real, flashes don't guarantee a spot on a deep, competitive roster, especially not when new talent is brought in with the clear intent to push you down the depth chart. So let's talk about this, because this isn't just about one player, it's about roster construction, offensive identity, and how the Cowboys are planning for the future. And I want to know what you think by the end of this, because it's not as simple as keeping or cutting. There's a real strategic debate going on here. And hey, while we're diving into all of this, make sure you're subscribed to Cowboys News TV. We're pushing hard to hit our goal of 14,000 subscribers, and if you love smart Cowboys talk, you're in the right place. Now let's break it down. We've seen it over and over again. The NFL moves fast, and if you're not evolving, you're falling behind. For Tolbert, that reality is hitting close to home. After a promising year where he started to carve out a real role, the Cowboys added George Pickens, and not just to sit on the bench. Pickens is coming in hot, with big play potential and a physical edge that could shake up the entire rotation. So where does that leave Tolbert? Right now, he's still a valuable piece. He knows the system, has chemistry with Dak, and showed reliability in key moments last season. But in terms of raw upside, Pickens may already be ahead. And with Brandon Cooks still providing veteran speed, plus younger players like Jalen Brooks making noise in camp, the room is starting to overflow. That's where the tough questions start. Can the Cowboys afford to keep 6 wide receivers? Do they believe Tolbert brings something unique? Or is he a guy that could be replaced by a cheaper or more dynamic option? And that's where you come in. What's your take? If the season started today, who are your top 5 wide receivers on the roster? Drop your list in the comments. I want to see who you think really deserves to suit up on Sundays. The idea of trading Tolbert might have sounded crazy a year ago. He was coming off a modest second season and just starting to build chemistry with Dak Prescott. But now, with George Pickens in the building and the wide receiver room starting to overflow, it's not just a possibility, it might be the smartest move the Cowboys could make. Think about it. Tolbert's stock is higher than it's ever been. He's coming off a solid 2024 campaign, he's still on a cheap rookie contract, and he's shown enough flashes to intrigue teams that need a reliable WR3 or a developing WR2. If you're the Cowboys front office, this is exactly the type of player you want to sell high on before his value plateaus, or worse, drops. And it's not just about making room on the depth chart. It's also about addressing other needs. The Cowboys could absolutely use more depth along the offensive line. They could use another rotational defensive tackle, or even draft capital for 2025 to keep building through young, affordable talent. If Tolbert can bring back a quality piece at a position of need, why not explore that? Let's be clear, though, this wouldn't be a dump. We're not talking about cutting ties with a failed experiment. We're talking about leveraging a decent asset to improve the overall roster. That's the kind of forward-thinking move you see from teams that stay competitive year after year. And for Dallas, with a championship window that's open, but not guaranteed to stay open forever, every roster spot and every snap counts. So here's the hypothetical. If the Cowboys could flip Tolbert for a solid depth lineman or a mid-round pick, would you pull the trigger? Vote yes or no in the comments. I'm seriously curious how split the fan base is on this. And if you're into these kinds of roster deep dives, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Cowboys News TV. We're on the road to 14,000 subscribers, and your engagement helps more fans find the channel and join the conversation. Next, we're going to get into how Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer factor into this. Because when it comes to roster decisions like this, the coaching staff's vision plays a huge role, and their plan might surprise you. Now here's where things get even more interesting. What do Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer think about all this? Because no matter what kind of moves the front office is weighing, it's the coaching staff that ultimately has to put these pieces together on Sundays. And from everything we've seen so far, they're not exactly shy about shaking things up. McCarthy, for one, has always valued receivers who can execute with precision and consistency. He's not looking for highlight reel guys who disappear for stretches. He wants someone who knows his assignment, runs crisp routes, and makes plays in key moments. And that's actually where Jalen Tolbert made his biggest leap in 2024. His reliability, especially on third downs, caught the attention of the coaching staff. But still, is that enough when you're trying to build a top-5 offense? Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, leans heavily on mismatches and flexibility. He likes to move guys around, create confusion for defenses, and take advantage of coverage breakdowns. Tolbert showed he can handle that complexity, but Pickens brings more raw mismatch potential. That's the kind of thing that can shift a coach's thinking, especially when you're trying to elevate the explosive plays that were missing at times last season. Here's the key. If the coaching staff believes Pickens can do everything Tolbert does and more, they might push for the front office to capitalize on Tolbert's value now, rather than let him slide into a lesser role and lose all trade leverage. But if McCarthy and Schottenheimer still see unique value in what Tolbert brings to the scheme, timing, route discipline, chemistry with Dak, then don't be surprised if they fight to keep him on the roster. It all comes down to alignment. Do the coaches see Tolbert as a core part of the offensive identity moving forward, or just a nice luxury? That answer could be the difference between him starting week 1 or being on a different team altogether. So I want to throw this back to you. If you were in Schottenheimer's shoes, would you keep Tolbert for the sake of system continuity, or roll with Pickens and shop Tolbert while the value is there? Drop your take below. I'll be looking for the smartest comments to feature in a future video. And hey, if you haven't yet, smash that like button and subscribe to Cowboys News TV. We're chasing that 14,000 mark, and your support makes all the difference. Up next, let's tie this all together and figure out what this means for Tolbert and for the future of the Cowboys wide receiver room. So now that we've looked at the roster, the coaching philosophy, and the trade possibilities, where does that leave Jalen Tolbert? Honestly, he's sitting right at a career crossroads. This isn't about failure, it's not about disappointment, it's about timing, opportunity, and a roster that's evolving fast in a league that never slows down. Tolbert has done enough to prove he belongs in the NFL. He's worked his way back from a rough rookie year, built trust with Dak, and delivered when his number was called. That alone makes him a valuable asset, whether for Dallas or another team. But in today's NFL, value isn't just about what you've done. It's about what you're projected to do. And right now, George Pickens is stealing the spotlight. Not because Tolbert failed, but because Pickens might offer more upside in the system Dallas wants to run. And that's the harsh reality. Sometimes you can do everything right and still end up the odd man out, especially when a team is trying to shift gears and get over the playoff hump. So for Tolbert, the next few months are going to be critical. Training camp, preseason, and every rep in practice will be a test, not just to prove he belongs, but to prove he should stay. But here's the thing. This could go either way. He could absolutely surprise everyone, ball out in camp, and force the coaching staff to rethink their depth chart. Or the Cowboys could get an offer they can't refuse, send him elsewhere, and both sides could walk away better off. Either way, his story isn't over. In fact, it might just be getting interesting. Let me ask you, what's your prediction? Will Tolbert still be a Cowboy by the time Week 1 kicks off? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from real fans, the ones who've been following this team through all the ups and downs. And if you enjoyed this breakdown and want more in-depth Cowboys content just like this, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to Cowboys News TV. We're pushing hard to hit that 14,000 subscriber goal, and every click brings us one step closer. Thanks for watching, and stick around, because the next video might just be about the next big move the Cowboys make.